In today's video, Democrats have officially hit full-blown panic mode. Their once comfortable leads in Virginia and New Jersey's governor race, and even New York City's mayoral race, are slipping right through their fingers. And in their desperation, they've called on their so-called messiah, Obama, to bring things home. But here's where things get worse. A new poll from an organization that actually works to get Democrats elected just dropped some shocking numbers. The data shows exactly what many have been saying for years now. Democrats are more out of touch with everyday Americans than ever before, and the numbers tell it all. And so we're breaking it all down, showing you how each side is presenting their case and what it means for the people caught in the middle.
Welcome to Batya on News Nation. I'm Batya, and we begin with what we learned about America this week. A new study from an organization that seeks to get Democrats elected had some disastrous news for the Democrats this week. Based on surveys of over 500,000 voters over the last 6 months, the study found that 70% of voters say that the Democratic Party is out of touch with average Americans. The study found that since 2012, highly educated staffers, donors, advocacy groups, pundits, and elected officials have reshaped the Democratic Party's agenda, decreasing our party's focus on the economic issues that are the top concerns of the American people, which pushed our party to adopt unpopular positions on a number of issues that are important to voters, including immigration and public safety.
All right, before we continue with those numbers, does any of this really come off as a shock when you look at the state of the Democrat Party and what it has come to represent? They spent so much time attacking the president and advocating for non-citizens that they completely neglected their own base. And if it wasn't for the heavy dosage of spin we get from the mainstream media, I don't think these races would be this close. But I get it. There's a lot of party loyalty involved, even when that party is driving you off of a cliff. That grip is clearly loosening, according to this new information. Let's continue.
Well, do you mean to tell me that the Where Armani Vote Mamdani guy doesn't represent the working class? I'm old enough to remember when saying that got you canceled. Just look at the gap the report found between what voters want the Democrats to focus on and what they think the Democrats are actually focused on. Voters wish the Democrats focused on protecting Social Security and Medicare, lowering costs, creating jobs, lowering taxes for the middle class, lowering crime, and securing the border. Dead last are protecting the rights of LGBTQ+ Americans, raising taxes for social programs, and protecting the rights of undocumented immigrants. Now look at what they think the Democrats are focused on. It's the exact inverse of what they are looking for. Voters see Democrats as insufficiently prioritizing economic issues, immigration, crime, and even health care. A large part of that shift in the Democrats' priorities has to do with who their base now is. It is the educated and the affluent. This is known as the political realignment. The GOP, once the party of the country club, now represents the majority of lower income and working class Americans, while the Democrats, once the party of labor, now represent the highly educated and the wealthy. And it's not just presidential elections either. In Congress, too, the working class is represented by the GOP, while the wealthy are now mostly Democrats. Obviously, working class people have different priorities to wealthy people. There's a huge gap between what college degree holders want from the Democrats versus what all voters want, as the report laid out. The wealthy care about climate change, voting rights, race relations, and guns, symbolic issues divorced from the struggles of daily life, while those without a college degree care about border security, immigration, terrorism, crime, drug addiction, and gas prices.
So clearly people have noticed the shift, but when you listen to Democrat leadership, like Hakeem Jeffries, when he speaks, he's still pushing the same tired talking points, only now it's not hitting the same. And it's really just showing the disconnect that's grown between party leadership and the voters that they claim to represent. Here's Jeffries on CNN with those same tired talking points. Take a listen.
Well, I mean, I asked you if Mamdani was the future of the party, and you didn't answer the question. You said the House Democrats are. I would note that at least a couple House Democrats from the New York area are not endorsing Mamdani. Your endorsement took a long time. Schumer still has not endorsed him. Are you concerned about Republicans using him as a lightning rod so as to hurt your ability to win back the House in 2026?
No, the lightning rod, in terms of what's going to impact the ability of either side to win control of the House or hold control of the House in 2026, is going to be the failure of Republicans to actually deliver on the promises that they've made and to actively make life worse for everyday Americans. The country knows that we're heading in the wrong direction. We see it repeatedly. The country knows that Republicans have refused to make health care affordable and are actively making it unaffordable, depriving working class Americans of their ability to see a doctor when they need one. And the country knows that Republican policies have been all about the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected, and they have not focused on making life better for everyday Americans. We will as House Democrats.
The wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected, that's who Jeffries wants people to believe Republicans are looking out for. But as we saw with that new data right there, the people who Jeffries is supposed to represent, that's who they see Democrats catering to more. That's who they see Democrats as far as putting ahead of the working class people. And that's why someone like Zohran Mamdani has been able to energize the Democrat Party, not because he has great ideas, but because he's at least speaking to the working class and giving solutions to the problems that they have. Nonetheless, they're bad solutions and ideas that he has, but he's still speaking to these people, telling them things that obviously they want to hear. But he's showing some signs of desperation as well, as this new poll shows that Mamdani's campaign is collapsing. And so this new data from interactive polls that has been good at predicting the winners and losers of these elections has Mamdani only up by 6 points on Cuomo. And that may seem like a lot, but when you consider the gap and the margins that were even just a few weeks ago that Mamdani had, it's not really that big of a lead. And Mamdani hasn't really been able to crack more than the upper 40-ish%, not get above 50% when it comes to percentages. And so with that, Mamdani is having a really big problem when it comes to getting a majority of New Yorkers behind him. And even if he somehow ends up winning this race, that's not really going to be good when you consider you had people like Hakeem Jeffries, AOC, as well as others who are supporting this guy. It's not going to be really good when you think about general elections and the ammunition that Republicans will be able to use by pointing to someone like Zohran Mamdani and his radical socialist agenda.
Hey, Jonathan, great to be with you. Well, these candidates are definitely locked in a high-stakes push to sway voters during their final days on the campaign trail. Democratic nominee Zohran Mamdani is delivering some of his final pitches on affordability. This week, the 34-year-old New York State Assemblyman joined seniors for Tai Chi, telling New Yorkers that the city's prices are too high, buses too slow, and childcare too expensive. But he said the cost crisis is also impacting senior citizens.
Sometimes I've been frustrated by the way in which people think cost of living is a young person's issue. Because what I've actually found time and again is that cost of living is affecting every single New Yorker, no matter their age.
While Mamdani's message on affordability has seemed to help him remain the front runner in most polls, former Governor Andrew Cuomo, running as an independent, predicts historic voter turnout will help him flip the race. So he's gotten a wave of late endorsements from figures like Michael Bloomberg and former Governor David Paterson. Cuomo is warning voters that Mamdani is untested and that the stakes are too high.
He is a socialist, and socialism will not work in New York City. New York City has no future as a socialist city. Socialism hasn't worked anywhere on the globe.
Meanwhile, Republican candidate Curtis Sliwa is vowing to stay in the race, telling Fox this week, quote, the billionaires, the influencers, the insiders have been wrong every step of the way. And he added that the race is going to come down to one person, one vote. Jonathan, there have been 7 days of early voting so far here in the Big Apple, and already nearly 500,000 ballots have been cast, according to the New York City Board of Elections. And get this, that total surpasses the 384,000 ballots cast during the June Democratic primary. So it appears people are very eager to have their voice heard with this election.
Mamdani's inability to gain a majority of support from New Yorkers, according to every recent poll, shows that offering freebies like they grow on trees doesn't work on everyone. I've said it before, Mamdani is a Pied Piper type politician, selling a dream that he can't deliver on and one that doesn't work in the real world. But unfortunately, these kind of ideas tend to resonate most with younger voters, many of whom lack the life experience or the understanding to understand the consequences.
New data revealing 14% of Americans have favorable views of communism. That includes more than a quarter of people 30 years or younger, and strong liberals who see communism in a positive light are now
joining me here at the Magic Wall is CNN's David Chalian to help break things down where things stand 2 days out. So, David, we know what the polls say, but what does the early vote tell us?
So, specifically in New York City, this is a poll result from Quinnipiac University last week. I want to show you why when I look at the early vote right now, looking at age breakdown the early vote. Here in this Quinnipiac poll, you see that Mamdani wallops Cuomo with younger voters, 18 to 34-year-olds. Voters above 50, you see that it's a slight Cuomo advantage, a 6-point advantage. So obviously that's a narrow advantage, Manu, but there are a lot more of these voters than there are of these voters, which is what gives the Cuomo world belief that they might have a path here. Take a look at the early voting numbers. So this is among registered Democrats, which, by the way, the vast majority of New York City voters are. Voters 18 to 29 in the early vote to date, which, by the way, ends today, 16% of the electorate, early voting electorate is 18 to 29. 51% of the early voting electorate is 50 and above. Again, that disparity is what is giving the Cuomo campaign some belief that they're turning out their voters. I will note, over the time of the last week, it has been getting a little younger. This isn't quite as young as the electorate was in the Democratic primary, which catapulted Mamdani's victory, but it is still a far younger electorate than we saw 4 years ago in New York City.
Who are you voting for mayor?
I'm voting Mamdani.
And why?
Because he's the most obvious choice.
What makes him an obvious choice for you?
It's just like, I'm trying to think. This reminds me of a certain comedy sketch where the comedian was like, we could either vote in one guy and he's gonna give everybody free houses, free rent, and he's gonna give everybody a Lamborghini, or we could vote in somebody who's gonna burn down the city. That's why I'm voting Mamdani, because I'm voting for the guy who give me the Lamborghini.
Yeah, so you think Mamdani's like just gonna give you guys everything?
Not everything. I'm saying it's the most obvious choice.
What do you think is gonna happen with government-run grocery stores and free buses? Do you think that sounds like a good idea?
That does sound like a good idea.
And freezing the rent?
That does sound like a good idea.
What if they have to freeze the rent to the point where eventually then the landlord's not able to come in and fix the washer and make a profit on his own lease?
That's their problem.
Mamdani has managed to stay in the lead in this race because he's telling people exactly what they want to hear. Problem is, many of those voters don't know how things actually work, the moving parts, the cause and effect. If Mamdani was to get elected and actually tried to implement his socialist policies, people would see the consequences of putting someone like him in charge. The promises of freebies sound good until reality hits. And then those same voters realize that all those freebies come with a heavy price tag. But the twist is, if he does win, it looks like he won't be able to go as far as he wants anyway. New York Governor Kathy Hochul has basically stepped in and said after that rally where the crowd was kind of heckling her and everything, she basically stepped in and said, slow your roll on all this talk of hiking taxes up on the rich even more. Take a listen.
We know that Mamdani does want to tax the rich more, bring it up about 2%. He can't do that on his own. You've previously said that you wouldn't be raising taxes. Have you reconsidered that stance?
No, I would say one energetic rally does not get me to change my positions, I assure you. But I do hear people's voices. I process what everybody says, but I'm also have to balance governing this state and making sure that those people who are actually the reason we have a generous, supportive budget that helps lift people up, it's their revenues that we tax. 1.5% of New Yorkers cover about a third of our budget. That's enormous. I'm concerned about outmigration of people who are the ones who are supporting our budget. I cannot make up for that with middle-class tax increases. I cannot do that to the middle class and the struggling New Yorkers. So this is the balance. I mean, this is my position.
Even if Mamdani does get elected, Kathy Hochul doesn't sound like she's on board with most of the ideas he's trying to push. That means New York City may end up electing someone who's not only unqualified, but also unable to deliver on the promises he's making. And yet people are still buying into it. The reason Hochul endorsed Mamdani and showed up at that rally with Bernie Sanders and AOC, it wasn't because she particularly agreed with them. It's because they managed to energize the Democrat base in a way that the current leadership hasn't. The far left energy, no matter how unrealistic and reckless, has become the lifeline of the party. And now even Barack Obama is jumping in, publicly praising Mamdani's campaign and even signaling he's ready to lend his voice to help him. Take a listen.
And ABC News has learned former President Barack Obama called mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani today. We are told Obama praised Mamdani's campaign and offered to be a sounding board in the future. This was the second phone conversation between the two men, and they discussed potentially meeting after the election.
Democrats have made their choice. This is the road that they're taking, the path that says socialism isn't as bad as everyone says it is. And honestly, Republicans are probably hoping that they keep heading down this road because it's pushing more and more people away from the Democrat Party and into Republican arms. We're already seeing it play out in real time in Virginia and even more so New Jersey. And remember, New Jersey and New York City are deeply connected. The people commute back and forth for work, share similar demographics, and follow in some ways the same political trends. If Republicans were able to flip New Jersey, a deep blue state, it would send a devastating message to Democrats nationwide. Even if Mamdani somehow manages to win New York City, the bigger story is that he can't manage to get 50% of the support. That tells you that voters are skeptical of socialism, even in the bluest parts of the country. And the Democrat Party supporting that can't spell for bluer skies in the future. And that's exactly why Obama is stepping in to offset the damage the Democrat Party's open exception of socialism is doing in places like a New Jersey and Virginia to a lesser extent. Take a listen.
Oh, I love you, but hold on. I heard you, girl. Just settle down. I'm here to talk to everybody, not just you. I mean, you look cute, but I am married. Michelle's fine, too. They put on a big show of deporting people and targeting transgender folks. But they never miss a chance to scapegoat minorities and blame DEI for every problem under the sun. You got a flat tire? Must be DEI. Your wife kicked you out? DEI. Who knew? But what they haven't done is help you. They haven't put forward serious proposals to lower housing costs or make groceries more affordable. They haven't improved our schools or made health care more accessible or shortened your commute or prepared young people for a future where AI might take their jobs. All the nonsense that we see on the news every day, the over-the-top rhetoric, the fabricated conspiracies, the weird videos of a U.S. president with a crown on his head flying a fighter jet and dumping poop on American citizens. Don't boo. No. Wait. That's not even worth booing about, because all of that is a distraction. All of it is designed to distract you from the fact that your situation, your life, has not gotten better. They do it so you won't notice that at the same time that they're helping the wealthiest, most powerful people in the country consolidate more wealth and more power, your bills are still going up. You're waiting longer at airports because there aren't enough air traffic controllers. The program that helps your kid with special needs just got gutted. They are hoping you don't notice that.
And so whenever Barack Obama hits the campaign trail, it's because Democrats are panicking and they're trying to remind voters of a time where people still have a positive view of Democrats when they look at a Barack Obama, despite the fact that he had 7 wars during his terms, 5 million people lost their homes. He deported twice as many illegals as Trump. He dropped over 26,000 bombs in a single year. He oversaw a horrible recession and just as a cherry on top did nothing for Black Americans in the process. But I guess when identity politics is your game, you can make the rules up as you go along. Now, guys, I want to hear back from you. Drop your comments down below. I appreciate when you guys take the time to chime in. Don't forget, you enjoy the content. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more breakdowns just like this. And as always, I'll see you next time.